Hello, welcome to RC Video Reviews. It is Thursday, October 6th. We're heading for Halloween, and you know, one thing I noticed the other day at the store, we went out to dinner after a football game, went to Cracker Barrel, and there was no Halloween stuff up at all. It was all Christmas. I couldn't believe it. No Thanksgiving, no Halloween. They just went straight for the throat, right for the jugular, straight to Christmas. Can you believe that? In Lowe's, too. I was in Lowe's. They did the same thing. I saw Christmas trees up at Lowe's. What the heck, man? They're advancing this calendar on us, I can tell you that. All right, Freddie was in first. How you doing, Fred? Glad you made it. John Opperman, he was a close second. Boy, I was close. Johan, you got to get in. You got to get in quick to fool Freddie, man. That's all I can say. He's quick. Elias, what the heck, man? Elias is a solid third in there. Glad you can make it, Elias. Thanks for joining. Midwest RC says, yo, what's up, man? How you doing? Stephen Beatty, yellow. Maybe that's is that a Midwestern thing? Yellow? Hobie, not first, but he's been waiting all day. Hobie's patient. I like that. Thanks for joining, Hobie. Glad you could join us tonight. Maybe the wife has kid duty, huh? Freddie he's on it when it comes to the like button. So yeah, let's cover that right away. I got two things regarding the housekeeping. First one is hit the like button, subscribe, and I want to give a shout out to my patrons. If you don't notice, up in that ticker right there on the top, I put all my newer patrons. Not everybody on there because thankfully it's getting to be a long list. So I appreciate you guys who support the channel on patreon.com, and I want to invite you, if your budget allows and you're willing and you like what you see on the channel, if you want to help out, I'm going to show you stuff tonight, and I'm going to tell you right now, the patrons are the ones that help me get through this. So they help me with the financial burden of the channel, and I can promise you the channel is not self-sufficient yet. I'm working on that. We're getting closer, but we're not there yet. So it's really helpful when the patrons jump in and help out, because that takes some of the financial burden off my shoulders. So I just want to give a big shout out to you guys who have offered your support via patreon.com. Thank you very kindly. And if you're not there and you'd like to help out and your budget allows, patreon.com. I got a tier for $3. It's cheap. Cup of coffee. It's like buying me a cup of coffee once a month. That's how I look at it. Anyway, Fast Freddy strikes again. Stephen Beatty, we got that. Fred hits the the like button twice. Thanks, Fred. Fred's smart that way. If you want to keep hitting the like button, if you're going to keep doing it, just do it an odd number of times. That's all. Odd number. Ken says, darn, going to miss this one. Made in my Wii Arrows T33 with a Maytech R24D yesterday. Good times. Cool. I'm glad. Glad to hear the ExpressLRS is starting to make it into the mainstream with fixed wing. That's cool. That's cool. You guys got to represent, man. Let the ExpressLRS developers know you're out there, because that'll help them do things that are fixed wing oriented. So just throwing it out there. Norm is here. Good evening. Hey, Norm, man, I got a shipping notification that says your programming card, I think that was what you got, right? The programming card. It still says delivery scan. So I don't know. I sent it to the address you gave me. I've got a tracking number, but it seems to be hung in that delivery scan status. So if you haven't received it yet, you might want to check in with the post office, because it's in your neck of the woods. William Tam, how you doing? Glad you can make it. Bill is here. Gentlemen, watch what you call us, Bill. That's not nice. Be nice, dude. I'm just kidding. That's nice. But I make a habit when I walk up to the field, I'll if there's three guys, I'll say gentlemen, and I'll call out the last one by name, just to make an implication. It's fun. Anyway, tonight is the Super Bowl ticket giveaway, right? I think it is, Fred. It's not on this channel, but I think it is. You got to get out there and look for it. I see how you do me. He's actually building hype, right? That's what's going on. He's using keywords that get scanned by YouTube. Super Bowl giveaway. I like that. Maybe that'll draw in some viewers. Philip Jang says hello. How you doing, Philip? Wowsy from Massachusetts. There you go. How you doing, Wowsy? And Drone Pilot says Mr. John at RC Videos. Mr. John, I like that. L. Leston is here. How you doing, Lonnie? Jeff is here. Hi, Jeff. Glad you can make it. TK is here as well. Four Eyes. Hello. Props off. Hello. Mr. Skyrider made it. William Gleason. EdgeTX for drones. Sure. You can use EdgeTX for anything. I've used it for pretty much every mainstream aircraft you've got. I've used it for airplanes. I've used it for big 3D planes. I've used it for helicopters. I've used it for quads. So yeah, no problem. Not for DJI, of course, but for RC radio controlled hobbyist grade stuff. Sure. Let's see. Nick Sebring, struggling with updating my Happy Model ES24T Pro Micro TX 3.0 upon error. Loving the EdgeTX upgrade on my TX16S. Yeah, it takes a little bit with ExpressLRS. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a project, but you stick with it, you'll work it out. And don't forget to ask for help too on the ExpressLRS Discord. Good Life says, I got the programming card. Thanks. USPS messed up the delivery, but I got it. Okay, good. So I'm going to take that out of my tracker. I left it in there, Norm, just to make sure, because I didn't want to, you know, find out that I dropped the tracking number and we couldn't hunt the thing down. So I'm glad you got it. That's awesome. I can move on with my life now. My OCD will relax now that I have a completed shipment. Speaking of relaxing, I got something for Fred in the mail today. Fred doesn't know about it yet, but you know, I've been putting Freddie to work at the field. In fact, right there in the video, right there on the side, the helicopter, that's Freddie. Freddie's doing that. I'm flying. Freddie's taking the film. But I got something for Fred to help with the filming. And it was supposed to be here. It's going to be here today. It's coming from Amazon, but it's late. So I was going to show you guys. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait. It's going to make the filming better. You know, Fred does a great job as it is. And I just, Fred, you know, I love having you at the field, man. Thank you. And Fred does a great job with filming for me. And it's really nice to have someone there to help with the camera work. That's all I can say. And Fred's a good sport about it, even in the heat. So anyway, I have some new gear here that'll be here today. And it's really for Fred to help with the filming and for desk videos and stuff. So you guys will see it. I don't want to spoil the surprise. I'll tell you when it gets here. Fred's guessing a gimbal. Maybe. We'll see, Fred. But we'll see. It's going to help out, man. I can tell you that. You're going to like it. It's actually one of those horse bits, you know, it's one of those horse bits. You have to clamp down on it and you have to bite the bit, and that way we can steer while we're filming. You know, I can steer your head in the right direction. Nick says, I'm watching those helis. It's like watching someone having a seizure. No, come on, man. Our helicopter flying is a lot more sport oriented. It's not like those crazy, you know, I don't mean to impugn the 3D pilots. I love watching them. You know, they're highly skilled, you know, I'll put it that way. I can say I don't love watching them. I don't really, you know, I can watch them for a little bit, but it does make me a little crazy. You know, it's like, you know, that seizure thing. But Fred and I, we're not that good. So Fred's better than me, of course. He's been doing it longer. He's got some skills. But our flying is more what they call big air or big air sport. So we're not so violent with our helicopters yet. You know, maybe we're kind of working on it. You know, that's the direction we're trending, but we're not there. So our helicopter flying is what you call big air sport. So you ought to check it out, man. There's more than one way to fly a helicopter, and it doesn't have to be scale, and it doesn't have to be spastic 3D stuff. So I'll tell you what, we have Rob on our channel, Bender. He's got a YouTube channel. If you're on Discord, check him out. He posts his helicopter videos on there sometimes, and he's got a beautiful style of flying sport. He kind of mixes in some of the cool 3D stuff, but it's not spastic. It's a little bit more reserved, but it's not that real quick spastic up down, you know, crazy stuff that you see. But I'd call it like a tight sport air flying, where, you know, the maneuvers are very prescriptive, but he still uses up some airspace. It's very fun to watch him fly, very graceful. So if you know, if you're curious about the helicopters at all, you know, maybe check out Rob's channel. He has a really unique style of flying, and by the way, I watch his videos and I try and copy what he does because I really do like it. And same with Fred, of course. You know, I watch Fred live, so Fred teaches me stuff, and I watch how he does things, and I try and mimic that as well. So that's much more my style. My brain simply does not work that way. I don't understand all that crazy fast, hyper fast stuff they do. I'll never understand that. I'm too old. You know, I'll do the best I can to learn, but I don't think I'll ever be there. You know, my style will be more big air sport flying with, you know, some good tricks mixed in. You know, I'll try and learn some good maneuvers. But anyway, check it out. Check out Rob's channel, his YouTube channel, and subscribe if you get on Discord and find his channel, subscribe. And I think I didn't see Robert here, but if one of the other moderators, Hobie, if you want to post the link to Rob's YouTube channel, you can go ahead and do that. And yes, Rob is definitely an asset to the Discord. Very knowledgeable dude. We're very happy to have him. He helps out a lot, and definitely an asset to our Discord. No question about it. Rob is a definite asset, no doubt. All right, so Nick Sebring says, I agree, highly skilled, cannot deny. Yeah, and you know, it's fun to learn. Once you get over the part, I'm at that part now. I've been doing it for about a year, and I'm at that part with the helicopter flying right now where I'm not nervous all the time. I go up and I fly and I try some new things, and sometimes I screw them up, but I can recover. And once you learn how to recover, then you can really start having fun. And that's kind of what I'm doing. You'll probably see it pretty soon. I put the Tron inverted and flew it close, and Freddie's like, whoa, what are you doing? But it felt really good. You know, I felt very much in control. So I'm kind of at that point with helicopters now where I'm feeling comfortable, still cautious. You know, you can't screw around with these because those blades are big. big, man. And if you screw up, you know, you don't want to do it close. But other than that, you know, I get them out there a little bit, and I'm just having a ball with the helicopters. I really am. I'm over that stressy phase where I'm worried about crashing all the time. And there you go. I got some nice little kind of rolling flips going on there. I'm just having a good time. So check them out. You don't have to be crazy with 3D. That's all I can say. So anyway, let's see. Camera with zoom, says Hobie. Well, we already have a camera with zoom, Hobie. We've been using the fact that that's zoomed right there. In fact, Freddie, every week, Freddie improves on his zoom techniques. You know, the first time I saw him zooming, he was going in and out, you know, kind of aggressively, and we've talked about it, and he's been working on his techniques. I think he's got it really good right there. You know, he's done a really good job kind of managing zoom, and so we do have that. Freddie says big air sport is mostly what I fly with a trick here and there. Yeah, and me too. And that's what I like. I like the big air sports stuff because I can watch it and I can understand it and I can say, oh, I know what he's doing there, you know, and I can internalize it. And that's why I like it so much. So Props off says, John, I finally got the Zorro. I also have the ES24TX Slim Pro and AGO1 gimbal, so portable and lightweight. Cool, yeah. With all that, props off, and I got another YouTube channel. If you guys are into quads at all, check him out. He does some neat stuff with the cameras and the quads, and obviously he's got that Zorro, so he's a little more quad focused than I am. So check his channel out too. Props off. I got computers talking to me here. All right, Rob is unique. Does the FrSky Tyrannus X Lite Pro flash with EdgeTX and ExpressLRS module go up to T1000? I really don't know the answer to that. I don't use FrSky stuff. Hobie, an asset to your Discord. Okay, Rob has the skills to pay the bills. Yes, he does. And if his YouTube channel grows, he can start drawing some revenue on that channel too. Elias says, I can't fly skateboard style heli stunts. I can do it on the simulator, but at the field we'll do simple flips and rolls. Yeah, that's the thing, man. I get kind of nuts in the simulator, but man, in real life, I'm a little more reserved because you don't want to risk them. They're not cheap. You know, I'll just put it that way. They're not cheap. You definitely do not want to crash them. So simulators, when it comes to flying helicopters, simulators absolutely a must. No question about it. Freddie's YouTube. Fred, I don't think Fred's set up as a moderator, so you can't post a link, but Robert could. Robert could put a YouTube. Freddie doesn't post a lot of videos on YouTube. He has a couple. The one you really want to check out is Rob, and if Freddie ever started working on his YouTube, I would plug him every single week. Fred's been a great coach, man. I just am so grateful to have him teaching me helicopter stuff. It's been great. Precious will be waiting for you, Robert. Yep. We know about the bottle of maple syrup you have stashed out in a boot out in the garage, Robert. Yeah, we got to keep Robert calm. Still at work. I'll be home in another 15 to 20 minutes. Man, Robert, I tell you what, I work pretty hard. I think Robert works harder than me. And I work pretty hard. So, Robert, hats off to you, brother. I know you're breaking your back all the time, man. This dude, Robert, goes to work at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. We're all drinking and carrying on, flying simulators, BSing in Discord. And Robert's like, well, fellas, I got to go back to work. Got to spray another thing. I'm like, what? That's crazy. I feel bad for him, but Robert definitely does put in the time. Freddie, the Divot YouTube channel, check it out. Sunk Piece of Florida. That's funny. Props off to Thanks, John. Appreciate the shout out. I used to fly 3D helis. Yeah, they do get too expensive. They can be if you're not careful. You got to practice in the sims. That's for sure. Okay, so anyway, let's jump into the material. We're 15 minutes in, and it's all been getting caught up with you guys, which is great. That's cool. I like that. Good little interaction. But so first video was the day at the field. I did a flight video. It was helicopters only, and I'll tell you, we had a great time just doing the helicopter stuff. I no fixed wing this week, just flying helicopters, and you can see Freddie killing it with his Spectre. He does these violent, crazy launches that just makes me laugh every single time. So we had a great time, and I was up at Fred's field. And Fred, thanks for the invite, my friend. Thanks for taking me up there and let me check out your field. Nice field, very nice facility. It was calm. It was quiet. We had good weather. Brightness was spectacular. So the helicopters look great in the sky. And it was just good flying and good fun, man. I had a good time on over the weekend with Fred. It's always fun to hang out with Fred and chit chat with him and watch what he does with the helicopters and listen to his pearls of wisdom. So I had a great time flying at Freddie's field. It was good. It was good. I'll talk a little bit about why I didn't get the slick in the air. We'll cover that. That's part of the topic for tonight. So we'll cover why the slick didn't fly. Next up was the KST BLS 359. I typoed that, didn't I? I did. I feel terrible about that. You can't do that, John. Come on, one job, says Robert. The BLS 359 servo review. Thanks to KST for sponsoring that video. I was very pleased to get an opportunity to evaluate those 359s. They are in the slick. They're ready to go. I haven't flown them yet, but I am sure they're going to be fine. I'm sure they're going to be great. I've got KSTs in a couple of different helicopters right now, and they're awesome. I don't have any complaints about those at all. They absolutely feel like very high quality servos to me. The casings are high quality. The specs are right there where they need to be. You know, it's a good option. The KST servos are a good option. So, you know, if they ever ask me to do a review video, I'm always going to jump on it if I can, just because it's great equipment and I'd be a fool not to. So thanks again to KST for sponsoring that video, and be on the lookout for the build recap. That new thing that I have for filming, we'll be using that for the build recap. I can't wait. I just can't wait to get my hands on that. It's going to be cool. It's definitely going to up the game for the channel, no doubt about it. So I'm very excited about it. So anyway, thanks to KST for sponsoring that one. The next up was the EdgeTX 2.8 top 10 features. And boy, I'll tell you what, man, that was definitely like my best video ever in terms of initial launch. I'm just going to take a look. Yeah, I haven't checked in on it for a couple of hours today, but 7,000 views, and it's been up for about a day and a half. 7,000 views. That's pretty good. I am a tiny little YouTube channel, only 22,700 subscribers. So I'm going to ask you guys again, subscribe. Hit that subscribe. Why is my radio talking to me? Stop talking. So I'm going to ask you guys again, subscribe. It's really important. You know, I have a ratio of about 70%, which means 70% of the I think it's 3.5 million views that I've had, only 30% come from subscribers. That means 70% of the people who take in my content don't subscribe to the channel. So hit that subscribe button. It helps. Believe it or not, it helps. It helps. Let me explain why it helps. First off, if you subscribe and hit the notification bell, whenever I post a video, you get a notification, which means you're probably more likely to click on it and go look at it. Otherwise, you have to rely on YouTube to put it into your feed. That's point number one. Point number two, the reason we ask these questions, you know, hey, can you please subscribe, is because as the channel grows, the sponsors are more willing to do more things with you, because they say, oh, look at the audience he has. He's got 20, 30, 40,000 viewers. They're more willing to do more with you. And that means I can do more stuff for you guys. So, you know, it's not believe me when I tell you, it's not a pride thing. I don't care. You know, I've got a day job. So it's not a pride thing for me. I just do this so we can get good content, what I consider to be good content, out on the YouTube. So that's why we ask you guys to subscribe. So if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you don't mind. But you know what? It's your life. So do what makes you happy. Okay, with that said, the top 10 features, you guys responded to that one, boy. That 7,000 views, that's like my best video launch ever. I've never had one launch that fast. I sent little sidebar notes to Rob in Discord late at night because he's in California time. Like, man, look at this. And Rob's like, oh, hey, that's cool. But we kind of watch that view count, and I keep an eye on it. So the Edge video, boy, there was definitely some interest in that one. So the EdgeTX 2.8 top 10 new features. If you haven't checked that out, it's a good video. You might want to see it. I didn't go into every single detail on the upgrade, but I gave you all the major stuff that will manifest itself in something visually for you, something that you'll see or encounter when you're using the radio. So that's what I focused on, and that's that. So, and then of course the last video was the pilot gem. So that's it. That's the week in review. I'm gonna go ahead and check the comments, and then we're gonna get started. I have things to cover tonight. So let's see. Bill Cox is here. Hey Bill, how you doing, my friend? Glad you could make it. And let's see. Great day of flying. Yeah, it was, Fred. Real nice, and the weather's getting better too, right? The weather's getting better. Robert says 1. I know what that means, Robert. I got you. One job. That's all I had. Let's see. Arwin Harrison, good day. Another Aussie, maybe. How you doing? Glad you could make it. William Gleason, I use KST in my Goblin 700, no complaints. Yeah, my Tron has KSTs in it, and that thing is solid. I mean, it's just spot on. No jitter, no flutter. The center's perfect. They're good. They're good servos. Lonnie Leston says KSTs are one of the best servos in the market. Also check the Power HDs. Power HDs. You know what? I've got some of those. In fact, I think I might even have one handy. Now that you mention it, I'm pretty sure Oh, no, these are power ups. I don't know if that's the same one or not. These are power ups. I don't think they're the same ones. I'm not familiar with power HD. I have power up. I'm not sure if that's the same thing or not. Was this thing going to focus or what? Are you going to work with me, camera? There you go. Power up servos, 17 grams. I use these in my testing kit. Anyway, PropSoft says all the manufacturers told me to check back with them when I got 10,000 subs. That rate be 7 to 10 years for me. Well, yeah, I feel you, man. You gotta put in. You know, it's just all I can say is you know what, you do you. That's all you can do. You do what you think is the best for your channel. Try and make your content honest, and you know, hopefully people will find you. That's all I can say. Mr. Skyrider says, Wowsy, where do you fly in Massachusetts? Don't forget about the fundraiser. Oh, yeah, that's right, Bill. Thanks for reminding me. So, yeah, that's right. FYI, it's a great reminder, Bill. Thanks. I appreciate you, man. On the EdgeTX video, the EdgeTX 2.8, I knew that one was going to get some hits, right? I kind of knew it would because, you know, we've been waiting for that one for a while. No, not to, you know, that's not a dig at the developers, believe me. But we've been waiting for that one for a little while for 2.8 to drop. So I knew it was going to get some hits. And we also had Hurricane Ian. So what I did is I started a fundraiser and attached it to that video. So again, if you know, it's a question of if you can help. You know, if you can help, there's a fundraiser button on that video, and you can help the poor souls down in South Florida. I mean, there are still people down there without power. It looks like a war zone out there. They're busting in water. They've got portable cell tower trucks. They're doing crazy things to get the electricity up and running. I mean, you know, I've got relatives and friends that are acting in service capacities down there. They're really doing a great job marshaling resources and bringing things in. But there are people without food, without their home, without their pets, without their belongings, without their clothes. You know, it's just ridiculous. It literally is like a war zone down there. So I added a fundraiser for Hurricane Ian. I don't see any of the money. It doesn't even traverse my bank account. The money is collected by Red Cross, and it's sent directly to the, you know, people who need it down there. So if you're in a position to help out, there's a fundraiser on the EdgeTX 2.8 video. I did that by design because I knew that one would get some eyeballs. So I'm hoping that, you know, people who watch the content will understand that is my home state of Florida. And if you guys can help out, I would appreciate it. And I will tell you guys too, when it comes to the fundraiser, whatever you guys do on the fundraiser, the channel will match. So whatever you guys do up to the fundraiser, the channel will match. I'll match it from the channel, and I'll donate the same amount that you guys put in together on the fundraiser. Okay, so go get it. See if you can spend my money. All right, let's see. Let's get into content then. That covers the week in review. And next thing I want to do is EdgeTX 2.8 RC2. So I'm going to go into the big camera now. And here we go. And I have to hide the chat. And you know, you guys know why I do that. That's for Robert. We got to give Robert that full frontal, right? There you go, Robert. Precious up full frontal for you, buddy. Right there. Okay, so let's get into the content a little bit. What I wanted to do first, there are a couple of things I wanted to do on EdgeTX. The first one is that when they implemented lvgl in EdgeTX 2.8, there's no question that it's a little bit more graphics intensive, but you know, that gives them the ability to do things they couldn't do before. A lot of it has to do with layout. So laying out the graphics, it allows them to put layouts on different screens like the NV14 and other options that may or may not be on the horizon in the market. Okay, so there are a lot of reasons to go to lvgl, but one thing I've seen and I've heard some people say is that it feels a little more sluggish. But I did want to show you guys just a little side-by-side comparison test. If I'm going to hit the model button on Precious and on the TX16S. Now keep in mind, same CPU. This is a Mark II radio over here on the right. This is a Mark I, but they're the same CPU. But I'm just gonna hit the model button on both of these. So I'm gonna press them down. Here we go, click. And you can see this one actually loaded up first. This is the label selector, and part of the reason for that is because it doesn't load all the models at one time. So that's one of the things that's an advantage in terms of operations. So you'll hear people say it feels more sluggish, but that comment really is not universal, right? It's just not. The reality is that there are some things that the new system does faster than the old system. Okay, I just wanted to point that out. Just to give you an idea. You'll hear people say it, you know, and it's true. There are some things that are more sluggish, you know, there's no question about it. Oh shoot, I shouldn't have put that other radio away because there was another thing I needed to show you guys. I forgot. So here's another thing that I wanted to talk about because it got comments. It got a couple of different comments, and I just wanted to show you. Apparently I didn't explain it well enough. I went back and checked the video. And I did explain it correctly, but apparently I didn't explain it well enough. So let me go back and explain it well enough. There's a trim reminder thing where on EdgeTX 2.8, which is here, what will happen is when you reach the bottom of your trim, and you can see over here the bottom of the trim is reached. So right here on the left-hand side, I'm going to turn the volume all the way up on both of these. And what will happen is on the new radio, if you get all the way to the bottom, it'll say trim minimum reached. And then if you click it again, it'll say trim minimum reached again. And if you click it again, it'll say trim minimum reached again. So let me just show you real quick, and hopefully you can hear it. But I'm going to bring it all the way to the bottom. I'm going to bring the speaker up close to the microphone so you guys can hopefully hear it. So listen up. Here it comes.
Minimum trim reached.
Okay, minimum trim reached. Now I'm going to hit it again.
Minimum trim reached.
Minimum trim reached. Now I'm going to do it again.
Minimum trim reached.
Minimum trim reached. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So if you hit at the bottom and you hit it again, the radio gives an audible prompt that says minimum trim reached again, and it works the same way going to maximum. Now, here's 2.7. And what happens on 2.7 when you get to the bottom is it will say minimum trim reach. Here it comes. Listen.
Minimum trim reached.
There's minimum trim reach. But if I do it again, all it does is beep. It doesn't say minimum trim reached again. And this is 2.7. So, you know, I had some people come in and say, oh, mine says minimum trim reached. Yeah, I know. Mine does too. But it's not the first one. It's the repeats where it doesn't say it again. So that's what they changed. So here it is again. Right? I'm just hitting down and it's not repeating. It's not saying minimum trim reached again. It only says it the first time. Now, if I go back up, you know, and take it off the minimum and then come back down, it'll say it again, but that's a reset. So what I'm suggesting here is that when that trim is all the way on the bottom and then you hit the button again, it only beeps. This is 2.7. There are no tricks or modifications on this radio to implement that. That's just the way it worked. Okay. So I just wanted to recover that one because apparently I didn't explain it well enough. I did watch the video. It is explained correctly, but not thoroughly enough, I guess. So I just wanted to clear that up because there were a couple of comments on that one. You know, people came in and said, mine says minimum trim reach. Well, I know, but it's only the first one, not subsequent. Okay. So you guys, because you're here on the Pilot Jam, I'm going to show, and this was something, I'm not sure if it was Cliff. Cliff came in and left a comment. I'm not sure if he's a developer or not. I don't know. So Cliff, if you're here, you watch and you're a developer, thank you for the comment. If you're not a developer, thanks for the comment anyway. But I did want to show you guys this one because he mentioned it and I said, well, I already showed him how to do that. And he said, no, this is what I'm talking about. And I didn't even know about it. So I'm going to show you guys something really cool. This is something you get on a Pilot Jam. I'm not going to put a standalone video together for stuff like this. So because you're in the Pilot Jam, you get to see something kind of cool that the general population doesn't get to see. So let me check comments first. Let's see. KSTs are one. The good life is day job. Why you put up that video at 4:30? Yeah, well, you know, it's not really, believe it or not. That video, I was done with that video about 1 o'clock. And then, you know, you have to edit, you have to render it, and then you have to upload it. So it was a long upload, and then it's a long render because it's 4K. So believe me when I tell you, Norm, I was in bed long before that. I let YouTube do its work. But yeah, it takes a long time for them to render 4K stuff out. Props off. All the manufacturers told me to check. Yeah, we covered that. Let's see. Don't forget about sorry I'm late. Bill Higgins Jr. Sorry I'm late. Better late than never. Love the EdgeTX 2.8 video. Well, thanks, Bill. Appreciate that. Drummond D says, good evening. How you doing, Drummond? Glad you can make it. And Robert says, nice radio. So sorry about the face. I know, Robert. It's terrible, isn't it? But there's a nice close-up for you. She's that's Precious, man. I love Precious. It's good-looking radio. I don't care what Robert says. Robert, have some syrup, buddy. It's okay. Calm down. It's okay. Jeff says, thanks for clearing up the trim. You're welcome, Jeff. Jeff was one of the guys who commented. So yeah, it's, you know, when more than one person says it, Jeff, that's when I say, well, I didn't do a good enough job. So I have to work on it. Scott says, do you think you'll ever go to IRCHA? I don't even know what IRCHA is. I don't, so probably not. I don't know. Is that a helicopter event? Yeah, that's a helicopter event, right? Freddie's going to pop in a second. I think that sounds like a helicopter event to me. I'll tell you what, we have the Torches Winter Bash is coming up pretty soon, and I think we're going to go to that, and we may even see Hobie join us there. So yeah, maybe. Okay, so here's the little Easter egg thing I wanted to show you guys, and this is, again, you get this because you're on the Pilot Jam, so you get a little special extra information that the average person's just not going to know because I didn't show them, and I tinker with these a lot. In fact, Where was it? Was it that receiver ID? Let me show you the receiver ID thing. If you didn't see that Easter egg, that was pretty cool. So I click on internal module, and I turn this on. Yeah, it was this one. It was this screen, right? So watch this. So see that little ID is unique right there? You can drag that. You can drag that over. See, I find stuff like this all the time. And after I did the video, the developer's like, nope, it's not supposed to do that. But yeah, you're not supposed to be able to do that. But it's kind of cool. I like it. I think that kind of stuff is neat. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. This is not an Easter egg. This is actually a functional thing. And I want to show you guys how it works. So check this out. This is the comment that came in after the video was over on labels. So here we go. We're gonna long press models. And this will bring in the model selector for labels. So again, this is a 2.8 release candidate 2. Okay, so check this out. If you want to edit labels for a model, you can do it right here. You don't have to go into your model settings individually. You can do it right here. So watch this. Let's find one. I'm going to find one to make a change, and we'll see. Let's see what this one says. Is this a plane? I wonder if yep, the Mustang is down as a plane. So I'll tell you what, let's see. What else do I have in here? I think I already have everything categorized correctly. Okay, so let's just say, for example, I'm gonna hit favorites. Okay, so here we are in favorites. Let's say, see that Model 12 that I have right now? That's in favorites. Let's say I don't want that in favorites anymore. Here's the cool part, check this out. You long press this one right here, and you can click Edit Labels, and you can take it out of favorites. You simply press on the favorites thing, uncheck it, and when you go back, it's gone. How cool is that? I didn't know about that. One of the guys came in and goes, hey, you can long press on the thing. And I was like, what? So there you go. That's a little Pilot Jam inside information you get. So I'm going to save a little tricks and gimmicks like that for Pilot Jam just to reward you guys who are on the live streams. So there you go. And again, if you want to go in and say, well, let's see, let's take this thing off planes. Let's say I want to label a katana a favorite. I'll do it again. We'll long press, and we just go down here to edit labels like that and press on that one. And let's say I want to call the katana one of my favorites. I'll put a check mark in there, and we exit out of there. And then when we click on favorites, there you go. The katana's got that label. Now, of course, you can do it in the model editor too, right? You just click on model, and here's the labels button. But that means you have to leave the label screen and go into the label pop-up. So I think this is what I love about the Edge guys, man. They're so clever, right? Because this is a much better way to do it. If you see something you don't like, you say, wait a minute, the katana, that's not a favorite. I don't want that in there. So I'm going to edit labels, and I'm going to take the favorite label off. There, now it's no longer a favorite. That's so cool, very fast, and it lets you organize things directly right on the screen, and is very quick. So I think that's kind of cool. I wanted to share that with you guys because I thought, yeah, that was definitely cool. Do you think you ever go to IRCHA? I was blessed with winning the grand prize Whiplash gas. Oh, that's cool. I looked at that Whiplash too, by the way. I'm not a gasser guy, so that's not for me, but that's cool. You got a Whiplash gasser. That's neat. Stargazer says, when building the firmware for 2.8, running the CMake command when adding dheli node improves if one wants to add the heli menu, does one just not? Well, I think by default in 2.8, they took, that's the standard. So if you look at the system settings on the radio, no heli is now the default. So if you want that swash plate in there, you have to convert it. You have to put the dheli equals yes in there. So they kind of reverse that. So there you go. So that's the default options for 2.8. This is release candidate 2, and this is how they build it right now, right there with no heli. So that's the option that they include. If you want that heli tab, you're going to have to add it back in. Freddie says, congrats, Scott. Yeah, no doubt, man. Getting that's at least like a grand, right? At least a grand for that airframe. Yeah, too far from my travels. It's Muncie, Indiana. Yeah, that's a long trip. Yeah, I don't know about that. Torch's Winter Bash is about the only event I attend on the regular. Yeah, I see. And there's also Jets in Lakeland. Fred, we're gonna have to go down there one time, man. I do the helicopter thing. You're going to have to humor me and come down and get some sausage and peppers down at the Jets over Lakeland. They are clever, and you bring the cool to us. I try, man. I try and show you guys what's there. But yeah, that's a cool little feature, right? And no doubt about it. All right. I wanted to show those two things to you as little updates to Edge because they were kind of, I don't want to call them errata. It wasn't like anything wrong. It's just more of an omission more than anything else. So Jeff H says, we always have elapsed timers before 2.8, but I'm sure you knew that, John. Well, yeah, if you do it the other way, I did know about that, but I think what they did, Jeff, is they made it more implicit because they changed the label. So the way it used to work before is you'd put a value, if you put a value at 0, it would count up. If you put a value of 5, for example, it would count down. So the point in the timer is that they changed that around. So that's the point. That was not available prior to 2.8. All right, let's see. That's it for the EdgeTX 2.8. Let's move on to the next. Oh, power delivery. ExpressLRS power delivery. Yeah, we got some stuff to cover on this one. So I'm going to bring the big camera back up. We're going to put the radio away. We're going to talk a little bit about power delivery. So this is one of those things where you guys know I've got the slick. Now, here, before we go any further, I'm just going to clarify. So when it comes to gyros, I do not put gyros in everything I do, okay? A lot of times I do things for the channel to show you how to do things, right? I don't fly with gyros in everything I've got. I do like to use gyros on smaller planes for wind rejection, but I did a gyro in the slick, and one of the comments I got was, hey, don't use a gyro on a big plane. Well, okay, I know, but that's not the point. The point is I do these things to show how to do things, right? And one of the errors I had with using a gyro on the big plane is that when it comes to these servos, and these are not the servos in the big plane, these are for another model I have coming in. So the servos can draw a lot of power. They can draw a lot of current. So when you connect these servos to the gyro, they can draw a lot of current. And the problem with that is that depending on how you're connecting your ExpressLRS or PWM receiver to the gyro, you have to make sure that you're supplying lines that can deliver the current that the servos are going to use. So there are two solutions. I'm going to cover both of them with you. So one of the solutions is in this model, when you're using PWM, this is the only wire that goes back to the receiver. So this would connect to the PWM, and you can see that this is the S-bus input or the gain setting right there, gain. So if you're using PWM, for example, this would be your gain line. And then if you're using other inputs from the receiver, this would be aileron, elevator, rudder, and mode. And then these are your out channels, out 1, out 2, out 3. So the problem is that if you don't use an actual signal wire, and you just have, like I did on that slick, where the signal wire was broken up, where in other words, the 3 wires weren't all going to signal, power, and ground. It was 3 wires going, one going to aileron, one going to elevator, one going to rudder. And then on the receiver, on the gyro side, this one was going into just a single port on the gyro like this. Okay, so on the receiver side, these 3 were broken up and they were going to 3 different pins. So they, in other words, the red and black weren't delivering power and ground, they were simply delivering signal. So the problem with that was that going into the gyro, I only had 1 wire feeding current, and that's no good, because when I built that one, the idea is that I took a pigtail from the 2-cell battery and ran it into the receiver, and I use 4 different leads into the receiver. So I use 4 ports on the receiver to provide current path into the receiver. So no problem on the receiver side, but the problem was I didn't have it over the current side. So I did some investigative homework. I talked to some people that fly big planes, and this is one of the solutions that's out there for that problem if you're using something like a gyro. I'm not saying you have to use a gyro. It doesn't, you know, whether or not you do, it's not the question here. The question is, how can you solve the problem? And that's what I'm after. So if you'll indulge me for just a minute and consider that this lead, and it actually shouldn't be this one, it should be up here, because that's the output lead. So if you'll indulge me for a minute and consider that this lead is the one feeding the aileron, for example. One way to solve the problem is to remove this from the aileron servo, right? Remove it from the gyro and connect it to a Y. And when you connect it to this Y, you can plug it back in. So now what we have is our aileron servo is reconnected back to our output. Okay, that's where it is. And on this lead, this is where you bring the power in. Now, you don't have to do 4 of them. 3 of them would probably be enough, right? Probably. But you have to make yourself happy based on your current load. So the idea then is that on your outputs, you could bring your power leads in, and that would certainly provide enough current for your servos that you're driving. And because this is a common rail back to the receiver, power can be fed back to the receiver through this lead, and it doesn't need to be a high current lead. I mean, your receiver only needs like what, 1 watt, you know. It's not a big deal on the receiver side. Okay, so I just wanted to give you the one example that I came up with, and I did flesh this out with people who fly these style of planes. So this is definitely an option, right? No question about it. This is what some people do that fly very big planes. They use Y cables, they bring power in on one, and then they feed the servo from the other one. Okay, so that's one option. Another option that I wanted to show you guys that I'm going to be working on, this is going to be my preferred option, and this is new equipment that you guys haven't seen yet. And I went out, and this is after talking with Rob about the power delivery situation and not liking what I saw. I spent some time, Rob and I were kind of kibitzing about this, and Rob found this one. He pointed it out to me, and I'm going to try this. I think this is going to be a good solution. So let me cover what I've got here first. This should be familiar to you, and I really do. By the way, I think this is going to be a killer solution. I think this one is probably going to be one of the best. I think this is going to be a really good fixed wing application for ExpressLRS. Okay, so let me cover what's going on here. I've got an R24D. You know I'm very fond of these because of the diverse antennas or dual antennas. Let's call it what it is. It's a dual antenna. Yes, it's diverse. The antennas are diverse, but it's not a diverse receiver. It's a dual antenna receiver, okay? There is a difference. And of course, this one will have the S-bus output. So S-bus, that's the S-bus converter board. Now that's going to mount to 4 pins right there on the R24D. Let me see. I didn't solder this together yet, so sorry about that. You're just gonna have to bear with me. Okay, and then on the top, I'm gonna have a set of angle pins going back toward the device that I'm using. Okay, so come on, stand up. There you go. So when it's all said and done, it'll look something like that. It'll look something like that. And on the top, remember, this is S-bus. So all this is doing is converting this from crossfire output to S-bus output. That's it. That's all this is doing. Okay. Now, I'll talk about this guy in just a minute. We'll come back to that. Now, imagine on this X10 power expander, what's going to happen is I'm going to have a signal lead back into S-bus. Okay, I don't know. Don't worry about the pins. I'll sort it out. Don't use this as a reference, guys, because I don't know which one's which. I don't know which one's which on this one either. But one of them is signal, one's power, one's ground. So I don't know which one yet. I'll figure it out. I'm guessing the square one is probably ground. So I probably have that on backwards. But anyway, what this X10 power expander does two things for us. Number one, it takes an S-bus stream in, so we have a receiver connected to a port on the X10 power expander. It's the X10 Plus, and by the way, this is the V2. I know it's going to be, let me just pop it off. I don't know if the camera's going to work with it. Oh yeah, look at that. How about that? Hold on. Here it is. Okay, this one is the V2. So you can see V2 right there, and then the other way you can tell it's V2 is it's got two of these inputs. So I'm going to explain what that's for in just a minute. Okay, so again, the S-bus, we go from S-bus on the S-bus converter over to the board. All right, come on, camera. Work with me. Come on. Oh, this camera is killing me. There we go. Okay, we're back in business. Okay, so we go from S-bus on the receiver into the board, and then on the board, we go directly to a servo output. So we simply connect the servo output. Now, here's the cool part. This board is rated on their description. I haven't tested it, all right? So I have to give that disclaimer. I have not tested this. But on their website, they say this rail is good for up to 80 amps. And it looks like each one of these is individually fused. Each one of these ports is individually fused. So they say this is good for up to 80 amps, and it's 10 channels. So we can feed 16 channels via S-bus in, and we have 10 channels of S-bus or PWM out. And notice the leads, the terminals here are designed for 10 gauge wire. So now we can go directly from a battery onto this board, and we can deliver the current we need without any Y cables or any adapters or anything else like that. So this arrangement is intended, you know, in my setup, this arrangement is intended for, this is a big airplane setup. Now, here's the coup de grace, okay? This can be configured as a secondary input for a secondary receiver. So if you want, imagine this solution now where you have two Maytech R24Ds in the same aircraft, one in the nose, one in the back, and you have diverse antennas or dual antennas spread out on two different angles, right? Now you've got 4 antennas in the craft, supplying dual receivers into the board, and you've got high current output capability to your servo. So the reason I'm looking into this is because I'm looking for a big plane solution for ExpressLRS. So this is going to go in the slick, you know, the 73-inch slick, and if I like what I see, it's definitely going into the edge. Now, regarding the gyro, in this particular application, I probably won't use the gyro because that would basically undo what this is all about. If I wanted to use the gyro, I would simply eliminate this altogether. I would plug my S-bus in and use the Y cables for power. Okay, so I just wanted to show that to you as an option, and I do have a link for where you can locate these. Before you go to the website, I'm going to give you a little help, but I have a link in the description of the video on where you can locate these. There are about 2 left on Aloft Hobbies. They had 7, and I bought 5. I bought 2 once I saw them and I got them. I decided to get 2 more. The couple of things I have to tell you: the Aloft Hobbies website, they advertise a V1, so they show the one that doesn't have the second pin, but they send you the V2. Okay, so there are 2 left on Aloft Hobbies. If you want to go, just Google X10 Plus on Aloft Hobbies and you'll find it. They have 2 left. They're about $30. And then if you don't want to use Aloft Hobbies, the link in the description takes you directly to the manufacturer, the X10 Extreme, I think is the name of their website. But here's the problem. I've been in communications with them all week long, back and forth with email. I asked them to adopt Crossfire, and they're not going to do it. They're sticking with S-Bus. They don't want to do Crossfire, so that's their thing. I tried talking them into it. They're not interested. So the bottom line is, if you go to their website, though, they have a shopping cart issue. So they can't, for some reason, their shipping quote thing doesn't work right. So if you decide you want to buy something, you put stuff in your cart, you contact them with an email, say, here's what's in my cart. They'll send you a shipping quote. You can pay them via PayPal and they'll send the thing out. Okay. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, if you're looking for a big plane setup with a lot of current delivery capabilities, again, this is 10 gauge wire, and these pins, according to their website, are good for up to 80 amps. So that's pretty much, I mean, if you need more than that, I don't even know what to tell you. I mean, you're getting into rarefied air, right? I wouldn't even know what to tell you in that case. This should cover just about anything that I would fly. I can tell you that. One other thing I want to cover is this little guy right here. So there is a small problem with this arrangement, and that's that the board, there is no regulator, so it outputs whatever's connected. So if I bring power onto these 2 rails via a 2S battery, it's going to deliver that power, that 2S power, out the power lead to the converter. The issue is that the S-Bus adapter in Maytech, come on guys, I don't know if you guys ever watch my videos, but if you do, you got to make this stuff universal, because I can tell you that the R24D is good for up to 9 volts, but the S-Bus board is only good up to 5. So the range on the receiver is 4 to 9 volts. So the receiver itself, this guy can do 4 to 9 volts, but this one can only do 5. And I'm not going to test fate. 3 amps probably wouldn't hurt, but I'm not going to find out. So that's what this is for. This is a BEC, and the idea behind the BEC is to take the power coming off of the power leads on the X10 Plus expander and bring it down to 5 volts, feed it into the S-Bus and the receiver. So now we've got clean power. I don't really like that solution. I'm going to tell you right now, I'd really rather not have that part, because when you introduce a part, you introduce something sub 100%, which means you add the possibility for a failure. So I'm not happy about that part. I can tell you that if you use Spectrum receivers, there is a pin on here you can solder. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere on this board, but you can solder it. And when you solder it, it puts 3.3 volts out. I did check the spec, and this receiver, the Maytech R24D, requires 4 volts. So again, you might be able to get away with it, but I'm not going to risk that on my plane. I can tell you that. So I'll stick with what the spec is. The spec says 5 to 9 or 4 to 9, 4 to 9. So I'll stick with 4 volts minimum. That means I'll use the BEC in line. So I'm not a huge fan of the BEC, but it's there. And I got these off of Race Day Quads. If you guys want to see them, I got their Mamba 5 volt to 9 volt 2 amp BECs. They're very small, very lightweight. I'm going to solder them in line with the S-Bus. It's not going to be a big problem. It's just one of those things that adds an extra element. That's it. That's all I can say. So you can get these on Race Day Quads for just a couple dollars. These are and they have other options too. They have other different micro BEC options if you need them. So I figured I'd just share that with you guys to give you a look at what's going to happen. And that's another reason the Slick didn't fly this past weekend. It's because I didn't like the electrical arrangement, and I just didn't want to risk that plane. It's way too nice of an airplane to risk, so I opted not to, and I'm just going with this solution. So tonight, I'll be gutting the electronics out of the Slick, taking the gyro out, taking the receiver out, the 10 channel side by side that I put in there, the PWM, that's going to come out, and I'm going to replace it with this arrangement. This is what's going in its place. So that's it. I'm going to go over and look and see if there are any questions or comments I can answer before I move on, and we'll be done with this subject. So let's see. Robert says, I blame Precious for your camera problem. Surprised it didn't crack. Hey man, Precious has been around and she hasn't broken a single camera, Robert. Not a single one. It's all good. It's all good. Hobie's laughing. That's good. Midwest RC says, looks like it would be easy to 3D print a case. Oh yeah, that's another thing. It'd be very easy to print a 3D case for this. So yeah, definitely not a challenge there. That'd be really simple. Norm says, nice. Still have a couple of the V1s around here somewhere. Oh yeah. So by the way, I got into a conversation with Extreme about the V1s, and I told them I got some of their boards, and they said, well, where'd you get them? You didn't get them from us. I said Aloft, and they said, well, Aloft hasn't placed an order with us for some time, and so you probably got V1s. Those are old and have a little more latency. And then today I got these in the mail, and it turns out they sent me the V2s. So I was pleasantly surprised about that. I mean, I was just thrilled that they were V2s, but a little bit of latency. I'm not that fast. So a little bit of latency doesn't really bother me. Robert says, way to go, John, advertised and it's gone with your track record. I know, man. That's why I went back and bought a couple more, because I know they'll get snapped up. That's how it'll happen. There's an RC Groups thread for them. Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna have to check that out. Also, they are programmable, by the way, and you can program failsafe by pin. So the problem with that is they require an FTDI adapter, but it's their adapter. I did try and load up my Betaflight FPV FTD dongle for not for Betaflight, Beta FPV FTDI dongle that I got for ExpressLRS, and their software didn't recognize it. So I might go out and get their dongle and try this, because I do have some of these on the way. It might be worth that investment to get their programmer and check out what's going on with the firmware and the different options that you can set on this device. So I might check that out. And if there's interest in that as a video, I'd be happy to post a video on that. Let's see, full scale RC planes. Yeah, this is definitely for the bigger stuff, man. And I did look at the trace on the bottom in case you guys want to see that. I know some of you guys pay attention to these little details, but you can see this trace on the bottom for the power rail is pretty thick. And I also noticed right here, it seems to terminate. I'm going to check continuity. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but I can't see that same trace going all the way around these last 4 pins. But yeah, you can tell that's a big hunk of metal under there. So it is definitely designed to carry some current. There's no doubt about it. And that's the point. That's the point behind this thing. So the X10 Plus, this is by Extreme. Let's see, not plug and play. No, it's not plug and play. This one requires a little bit of work and a little bit of planning, but it's a good solution, because what I love about it is it lets us put a really solid receiver on the back of this power adapter. And again, my goal for ExpressLRS, money's part of it. You really want a compelling price point for this stuff, but I also want quality and consistency. So if I can get ExpressLRS working with everything, right now, the way I see it, oh, we got to talk about Icon too. But the way I see it is I have a workable solution for ExpressLRS and big planes. I've got a 78 and a 73, and maybe some other stuff coming, maybe. So, there's a solution for that now. And I think this is a very workable solution. I think it's fine. I think it's very sustainable. It makes a lot of sense to me. I think it'll be great. So this works for the big planes. Obviously, on the 61-inch stuff, you guys have seen that setup. The Maytech R24D directly into gyro. I've done all kinds of videos on those. Pilot jams on those. So I have a very good solution for a mid-sized plane that doesn't have a real high current draw. And of course, you've seen the direct PWM version. So if you have a small plane, you can use a PWM direct output to the servo if you want to, or a gyro if you want. So, what I'm looking at here is I'm trying to carve this up, right? I've got the ability now to do big planes, middle-sized planes, 60-inch planes, and small planes. That's done. I've got the ability to fly quads. That's obvious, because that's where, that's really kind of how the whole thing got started, was in the quad space. And we had some really good news this week. Icon, who runs Brain, MSH, they make the Brain fly barless. They now support Crossfire. So guess what? You can use this ExpressLRS receiver directly with telemetry into an Icon or a Brain. So now we've got a Crossfire, I shouldn't say Crossfire. I have to break that habit. We have the ability to run CRSF directly into a Brain or an Icon fly barless. So now what we've got is one receiver, which means one transmitter module that can run everything. It can run big planes, middle planes, small planes, quads, and helicopters. That's what I'm after, because that lets me get rid of everything else, right? All I ever need to worry about is an ExpressLRS receiver. And I see the market for these going up, not down. These are going up. Manufacturers are jumping in. They're providing hardware support. The software development is off the rails in terms of what they're doing on ExpressLRS. We're seeing integration show up in things like the fly-barless controllers for CRSF. So the trend line for this technology is going this direction. That's what makes me so bullish about these receivers. And that's why you're going to keep hearing about them on this channel, because I think it's a good solution. We already know they're reliable. We already know they have some ridiculous distance capabilities. We've got some really strong configuration capabilities. I can deliver 333 hertz output to this if I want to, because remember, we're talking about S-Bus, right? We don't have to use the PWM out. We can use S-Bus. So we can deliver some really strong resolutions on our servo and frame rates on our servo. Everything about this is trending in the right direction as far as I'm concerned, which is why you're going to keep seeing me talk about it, because to me, this is a very good solution for fixed wing, quad, and helicopter. Very consistent. Yeah, it is CRSF. That's right. I got to stop saying Crossfire. It's a protocol. It's a serial protocol. It's just unfortunate that they use CRSF, because every time I see that, I think it's an abbreviation. But anyway, spit it out. Spit it out. Let's see. Way to go, John. Advertise. Okay, full scale resistor on small board. Problem solved. Yeah, I thought about that, Robert, and again, I think I'm just going to use the BEC. I know you could put a resistor in line, too. You could put a resistor in line on the power lead and bring that down, and yeah, it's a possibility. I know it could be done, but for those people who don't want to mess around with resistors, you can get a microbec. And I mean, you know, it's not like I have microbecs failing all over the place, and it is a 2 amp bec. You only need like a half an amp for this thing. It's not much. So, but yeah, he's right. Robert's not right. You can use a resistor. No, sorry. Robert's not wrong. You could use a resistor instead of a bec if you wanted to. TK says, if using iBus with the Hobby Eagle gyro, can you split PWM servo commands between the gyro and the host receiver for flaps? If using iBus with a Hobby... I think you mean S-Bus, hopefully. I don't think the Hobby Eagle supports iBus. I'm not sure. If it does, I have no idea. I've only focused on S-Bus. Can you split PWM servo commands between the gyro and the host receiver for flaps? Yes, you can. In fact, on the Hobby Eagle A3 Super 4, the software allows you to configure what channels do what, and you can inhibit commands too. So yes, you can change things depending on what PWM pins you have available on your receiver. So yes, you can. Your slick will love you for adding the power expander. I'm sure of that, Jeff. I am sure of that. And by the way, Jeff caught it too. Jeff just spotted it. I got to give Jeff credit. He's got a mind for details. So Jeff caught it after I had already come up with a solution, and he said, "Hey, wait a minute." But good eye, Jeff. I give you credit for that, man. You were on it, so good job. Midwest RC says game changer. I agree, man. I all I can say is that I just really look forward to what these manufacturers are going to come up with when it comes to ExpressLRS. The options are kind of crazy, and I'm going to give another plug to the ExpressLRS guys and say, number one, thank you. I appreciate everything you guys have done to make these receivers mainstream for us, but I'm going to beg and plead and ask as nice as I can. Please, either a manufacturer like Maytech or Radiomaster or the developers, let's get rid of these things. I don't want those either. I want those gone, and I'd love to see these gone, because I don't want to have a converter board. It would be so nice if we could just have an option in ExpressLRS to say S-Bus. And I know one of the things that they're afraid of, I know what it is, and that's that they don't want people coming in. Once they enable S-Bus, they don't want people coming in and saying, well, I need FreeSky S-Bus, or I need iBus S-Bus, or I need this S-Bus, or I need that S-Bus, or I need inverted S-Bus, or non-inverted. Just do Futaba and call it a day, and tell people, look, stop messing around, because everything supports Futaba S-Bus, and that'd be good enough. And I would say drop all the other stuff. In fact, I would definitely be supportive of seeing a limitation on all the S-Bus variants, because frankly, it's a pain in the neck. So just make it a single, go out and figure out what do all these boards and controllers want to see in terms of S-Bus. I can answer it right away. It's Futaba. So provide Futaba S-Bus on a single pin, and that allows us to get rid of this board and this board. So we have 2 less parts in the chain, and now you're down to a ridiculously simple configuration. Ridiculously simple configuration. And by the way, just in case you're watching, yeah, you could use an R161 on this. The R161 will go direct with nothing in line right into those pins. My problem with that is I want to get rid of all those other protocols. I just want to get down to one transmitter system. That's what I'm after. So if you're a manufacturer watching any of this stuff, we need an S-Bus output. Even if you added a second pin on the bottom and called that S-Bus, that'd be fine. I don't care. We just need it. This obviously is set up for CRSF because of the 2 pins, right? But even if they could just take that one little pin right there and give us the software option for Taba S-Bus output, that'd be genius. We could ignore the 4th pin altogether, and that'd be good enough. That would solve all kinds of problems. I really am praying that either the developers resolve it or the manufacturers resolve it. And I don't care who does it, but S-Bus not going away. It's out there. All right, let's see. Robert is never right. Everybody say it with me now. Obi, are the dishes done for you to be on now? Oh, we're slinging a little shade on the chat, huh? Laundry is next. T-Case is cool. Thanks, John. I use FlySky stuff that iBus. Oh, iBus on FlySky. Gotcha. That is iBus compatible with the HE Pro Super 4 and mini gyros. Okay, yeah, so I assume that it's a serial inline protocol. I assume that the behavior from the gyro would be the same as long as the Hobby Eagle can understand iBus. Honestly, I just kind of skip over it. That's all. It's not to impugn it, just I don't use it. That's all. Let's do 8 volts on all receivers. Yeah, that's another one, Robert. 8.4 volts. I mean, come on. We want to see upgrades to 8.4 volts on everything across the board so we can use a 2S battery with no fear, and we want S-Bus out. Just S-Bus out. Yeah, well, I'm so excited about what's going on, but I want to simplify, right? So I can get the job done with these boards. I can get it done. I can get there, right? I can get the job done and have a really good solution, but why? It just seems like such a small thing just to take those out. And these add a little expense. That was $3. That's another $4, and they're additional parts in the chain, which are not at 100% reliable. They're not. They're because they're made by humans. So because they're not 100% reliable, that means the mean time between failure number goes down. So by eliminating these, the reliability goes up. That's just the way it works. I don't care if you want to argue that. Go ahead. I'm not going to respond. That's the way mean time between failure works. You add a sub 100% element into a stream, mean time between failure decreases. Full stop. So that's why, right? If we can get rid of those parts, now we're just down to a simple S-Bus output to any kind of controller we want. Man, you got a genius solution here for flybarless controllers, gyros, whatever, whatever you want to use. All right, that's that. Let's get over back to the desktop and we'll get on to the next subject. So ExpressLRS power delivery, cover that. Oh, Tron body clips, then we're done. So this is another one of those things, and this is more of a reason to get on Discord than anything else. So Robert, if you wouldn't mind putting out the link for Discord again, I just want to encourage you guys, man, get on Discord. Discord is awesome. We have a lot of people are starting to join now, and we get thanks, Robert. I got a lot of new folks that are joining Discord and they're asking questions. We get engagement. I'm seeing you guys jump in and help people out. I mean, it's really turning into a thing, and it's a good place to go. And everyone that tries to they're nice people. They try and be helpful. I can tell you that it's a much better platform to get help than YouTube. The YouTube comment system is just not great for back and forth interaction. It's just not great. So Discord is much better. It's much more interactive in nature, and it's a better solution. So I would encourage you guys, if you're not there, get on Discord. Join us on Discord. You can ask questions in there. You can get help in there. And what's more important is I'm not the only one, right? I don't know everything about RC. I know some things, but I don't know everything. And there are plenty of people who come up with ideas that I don't even think about. So, the idea is get on Discord and ask. Get in there and ask. Talk to people and engage. Get involved with the RCVR community. And I think you'll find out that it's a pretty cool place to hang out. Okay? So big camera, the reason I'm bringing this up is because this also was a thing with, oops, went wrong way on the Zoom. This is a thing with the with Discord that Rob and I were just talking, and what the heck? What did I do with it? I don't know what I did with it. Oh well. I'll show you the one that I have on the Canopy instead. So Rob and I were talking, and I was, Freddie and I were flying the helicopters, and one thing about the Tron, it's the absolute worst feature about the Tron 7 helicopter, and that's these stupid canopy pins. So these come off of, I used to race off-road electric, and you had to use these pins to hold your canopy, your body on the car. And when you're young and you have perfect eyesight, that's awesome. But as you start to get older and you're at the field, you don't have your glasses on, and you try and stick these pins in, it's a royal pain in the neck. It's like my biggest beef with this helicopter. So Rob and I were kind of chatting about it. He sent me this link on A-Main. A-Main has these, they're called supersonic clips, and it's real simple. You simply replace the post right there. You replace the post on the helicopter. I can't bring the Tron 7 in to show you, but you replace the post on the Tron 7 frame, and you take the rubber grommets out and you replace it with these supersonic clips, and now they just pull out. So you pull these out and to release it, and when you put it on the helicopter, you just slide it in, put them on the shaft, and they click into place. So this is just a really nice upgrade, and this is the kind of stuff that I learn on Discord, right? I was kind of lamenting the fact that I couldn't stand these stupid body pins. I was complaining about it. Freddie and I were both complaining about it, and Rob said, man, have you seen these? And I'm like, nope. So I ordered them and I got them, and I put them on the Tron 7. I'm gonna use the other set that I got on the Tron 5. So I'm getting rid of the stupid body clips. I can't stand these things. They're gone, and I'm moving over to these supersonic clips. So again, I'm only showing you guys this just as one of those things that happens on Discord, right? I had no idea these even existed. I didn't even know about them, and I'm just kind of complaining, whining a little. Oh, look what else it does. Those stupid pins, that's the other thing they do, is they chip your paint. So that's definitely from a pin right there and there. I can see it on both sides. So those stupid pins, they chip your paint. That's another reason I don't like them. So they're gone now. But yeah, Discord, man, it's one of those places. I didn't even know about this capability, so I'm whining about it to Rob, and Rob's like, here, check these out. It's awesome, man. It's just an awesome platform to get to share ideas, right? To get information and share ideas in real time. So get on Discord, join us on Discord. All right, let's see. Just don't post buggy pics in the heli section. Yeah, I don't have any more bug. I used to race a Losi BK2, and originally I started with a associated, what is it? A B2, B4. I think it was a B4, associated B4 buggy. Yeah, it's been a long time, though, since I raced those. Hobie says, RCVR Discord is a great place with people that have tons of knowledge, and everybody's happy to help and share. I agree, Hobie, and that's the point, right? Get on there. Get on our Discord, and by the way, don't wait for me either. This is the other little bit of guidance I'd like to give you guys. A lot of people will join Discord and they'll private message me. They'll ask me stuff, and that's fine. I'll try and answer whatever I can. But here's the deal: if you have a general knowledge kind of thing, don't be afraid to get into one of the channels and ask, because there's two reasons for that. Number one, I'll see it probably. I'll probably see it, and if I have something to add, I will. But more importantly, other people will see it as well. So you might get other points of view, and if you're asking, the chances are high that somebody else is probably asking. So if you talk just in private message only, then people don't benefit from that exchange of information, right? So don't be afraid to get into those channels. We're not super strict there about what channels you post in. We're not, we're very relaxed on our Discord, very easygoing. So don't be afraid to get in there. If you put something in another channel, somebody might suggest, hey, we could take this over to this channel. I can tell you that if you go in the helicopter channel, that'd be the one exception. If you don't talk about helicopters, Freddie is relentlessly kicking people out of there, saying, hey, there's a quad channel for that kind of talk. But no, it's all in good spirit, though. It's all in good fun. But anyway, so join the Discord, and I'm happy to try and talk to you guys in private message if you want. But don't be afraid to get in those channels and talk in the broader channels, because you get more eyes on it. And like I said, if you're asking, there's a pretty strong possibility somebody else wants to know the answer to that question as well. So if your conversation is in private message only, then other people don't benefit from the dialogue, right? So don't be afraid to get in those general channels. Heli section is fair game for anything. It's losing traction. Yeah, I know. Freddie Freddie does a pretty good job keeping things going. He does a pretty good job keeping things going, but it's definitely not as busy as it used to be. I think Brennan, he's got some personal things going on, and Owen, I think Owen's out there working pretty hard. So I know that slowed down a little bit, but yeah, we're still alive. Freddie says we have secret meetings now, Robert. Oh, that's right, the secret heli channel. Steven says, reminder, what's Robert's YouTube channel? I don't think, Rob Bender. So, Robert, can you grab Bender? I don't know. Can you grab Rob Burrow? It's Rob Burrow. If you guys look him up on YouTube, in fact, I'll tell you what, while we're finishing up here, I'll see if I can find it and I'll post it too. So it is Robert Burrow. He's the guy. Let me see if I can find it for you. I'll post it in there. YouTube. Let me see. Robert, is it Robert Burrow or Rob Burrow? Let's see. I don't see it that way. Burrow. Let's see. I found it. I found the channel. Here, I'll post it. I got it. Here's the channel. This is the one you guys want to check out. If you want to check out Rob's helicopter flying. Guy's got some, not only does he have some amazing helicopter skills, he's got some legit fixed wing skills too. Legitimate. Like, he's a very good pilot. So definitely check him out and subscribe. He's got 44 subscribers right now. I challenge you guys to get him up to 80 today or tomorrow. Check him out, man. He's got a good YouTube channel. He does some neat stuff. And all I can tell you is he's got legit skills. I watched him fly, man. He's no joke. He's legitimate. Okay, let me bring something back up that's worth seeing on the screen. And I don't know, I'll drop this in here, maybe the gyro. I've got to get some background material. It looks boring on the screen without something. There we go. That's better. All right, let's see. I think we're at the end. So we covered the Tron body clips. Yeah, I did that because I wanted to talk a little bit about Discord. So invite you guys. And by the way, if you're not sure about Discord, I have links in every single video that I post has a link to Discord in it. So you have an invite to our Discord. So every single video that I post, you can go in the description and look, and there's a link. And then Robert does a great job posting links to the Discord on the chat over there in the chat window down there at the bottom. Robert does a good job posting that as well. So, all right, let's see. Hobie Kenobi says heli, fixed wing, and quad. Yeah, he does it all, right? He flies heli, fixed wing, and quads, and his quad flying is getting pretty good too. I just watched his last Evoke. I think he was flying his Evoke around, and that was actually looking pretty darn good too. So, yeah, he's definitely. If you guys want to see a really good pilot, watch Rob's channel. That's all I can say. Over an hour and you're a beast tonight, says Robert. Well, cool. I appreciate that. Yeah, we are over an hour. How about that? What we're wrapping up. TK says, quick TX16S hardware question. When cleaning the hall sensor gimbals, can you use something like rubbing alcohol on the sensor contacts and can compress air, brake cleaner? Yeah, no brake cleaner. Please don't use brake cleaner. And I don't like blowing compressed air over small circuits. So if you need to use something, a little bit of rubbing alcohol. If you want to blow on it, then blow on it with your lungs. But I personally wouldn't hit it with too much compressed air. I know that they do have the aerosol cans. You could do that. The electronics aerosol can cleaners. You could do that. That'd be okay. But I definitely wouldn't use my air compressor. I can put out, and Robert's going to laugh, but mine puts out like 150 PSI. You definitely would not want to use that. Acetone, no, let's do that. Definitely the alcohol, rubbing alcohol is fine. Make sure you get the high purity stuff though, like 99.9%. Don't use cheap stuff. All right, guys, that is it for the content, and I think we've devolved into goofiness, so I think we're ready to wrap it up. Let me give you a preview into the week. Obviously, I'm going to be working on this little guy, and I already, if you haven't figured it out, I've got some more servos in a box. In fact, I've got a bunch of servos in a box. I'm going to tell you guys something real quick about Emax too. I really like their servos. This solution. These are the 5292s, I think. Yeah, or 9252s. 9252 Emax servos. I ordered these from Emax USA. I ordered these 2 days ago, and out of everything that I ordered for this next build that I have coming up, that's not the slick. Everything that I ordered, these already showed up and I ordered everything pretty much on the same day. So Emax USA doesn't screw around. If you're in the market for servos, don't check out the Emax stuff, man. They've got some good, decent servos too. These are for the smaller plane. I need to try the KSTs next time though. I will be trying the smaller KST servos on my next 60-inch build, but I've had good luck with these Emax 9252s in my 60-inch format, so I like these. But you know, the plug is that they don't mess around, man. I got these in like 2 days, and the shipping price was reasonable. It was like $4 or something. It was cheap. So Emax servos, new build is on the way, and I'll just give you guys a tip because I'm going to put it in patreon.com first. The plane is ordered, and it's another Skywing, so I'm going to try another Skywing plane. I was plenty enough impressed with the way the Skywing slick went together that I was willing, even before I flew it, to try to get another one. So it'll be another Skywing plane. More information on that will be on patreon.com for those of you who are over there on Patreon. And that's it. So next airframe will be it'll be another Skywing, and that build, everything's ordered and on the way. And of course, the slick, we'll be looking for that. I'll be doing the upgrades, the electronics upgrades tonight, and getting this tonight or tomorrow during the day. But if the weather cooperates and I can get to the field, the slick will be flying this weekend. That's the goal. 100%, that's the goal. So as far as other material for the week, I'm kind of watching Edge, and I can tell you right now that on Release Candidate 2, I went through and gave a little bit of a punch list on the issues tracker for GitHub for a couple of things that I think needed to be corrected. They're jumping on most of it. Some of it, they'll do what they do. Developers, I just let them know what I saw, and they'll do what they do to work things out. But as far as the Release Candidate 3 or the final version, I expect it's going to be soon, but I don't know when. It's really up to them. They run the schedule. They'll release it when they're darn good and ready, and they're comfortable that it's a good system and ready to go to the public domain. So hang tight. But I expect it's not too much farther if you're waiting for 2.8. And when that comes out, I'll probably do a launch video on that one just to kind of, again, show maybe how to install it and what happens with your conversion. I'll show a few little details on the launch video on what happens under the covers, and that's my plan for the 2.8 launch. And that's about it. So if 2.8 hits this week, there'll be a video on that. If not, we'll be looking for some electronics videos. Freddy's new toy just showed up. I got a notification while we were on the Pilot Jam that it's sitting on the porch. So we'll get that out, and hopefully if Freddy can join me on Saturday, we'll put that in his hands and see how he does. And that's it. That's it. So that's the week coming up. Let's see. I use 99% on all my electronics builds. Yep, that's what I use. You should try the KSTs in that 60-inch Sport. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get some KSTs for the next 60-inch plane. No question about it. Stargazer says, thanks, John. Have a great evening. Appreciate that. Become a patron. It's cheap and helps with this great content. Yeah, thanks again, Robert. By the way, the patrons are the ones that help me cover stuff like this. That's how I do it, right? I get a little bit of help from those guys. So if you're able to, get on patreon.com/RCVideoReviews. $3, man. Cup of coffee. Awesome Jam, says TK. Well, I appreciate that. You're welcome. And that's all I've got for tonight. Hey, thanks for joining me on your Thursday night. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. It was a long one tonight. We went an hour and 15, so I appreciate that. Oh, one last little note. Football season's only got 2 games left, and we'll be moving back to Fridays. So keep an eye out. Just pay attention. We're going to be going back to Fridays when football season is over. So hang tight for that. We'll be making that move in a couple of weeks. I think it's 3 weeks from tonight. We'll be back on a Friday night. All right. That's all I've got for tonight. Hope you guys had a great time visiting with me. I know I enjoyed your company tonight. Take it easy and get out there and fly something.